as one who has lost the kingdom of his soul. What a sad thing. What a sad thing. You see. You have lost the kingdom of the soul, then of no good. You are bound to suffer. You are bound to be trapped in evil, in sorrow and pain and suffering and falsehood. You are bound to be that. As one who has lost the kingdom of his. We look back to some God face of our birth. We look back. But that memory is there, something is there within us, and we look back to our God face of our birth. That our birth was in the transcendent, in the world of God, in the realm of God. We look back for that. We look back to some God face of our birth, other than this imperfect creature here. Yes? Yeah, we know in God. We are not worried about it. We are looking back to our God face and hope in this or a diviner world. A diviner world. That is our hope. To recover yet from heaven's patient guard, what by our mind's forgetfulness we miss. By mind we forget our being's natural felicity, our heart's delight we have changed for grief. The body's thrill we have bartered for mere pain, the bliss for which our mortal natures yearn, as yearns an obscure moth to blazing light. He has given a simile. Obscure moth is yearning for the blazing light. Now he has given here all the descriptions here. To recover yet from heaven's patient guard. What is that you want to recover? Your mind has forgotten something. Your being's natural felicity is not there with you. Your heart's delight you have bartered for grief. You have bartered. Body is not there, is suffering pain, you see. All these things are there. You have to, the bliss for which our mortal nature yearns. Yes, our mortal nature is yearning for that place, and it is that thing. So now that is the God face. That is the God face. But we have lost that God face here, other than these imperfect creatures here, and hope in this a diviner world. We look back to some God face of our birth. God face of our birth. This is actually a reference to one of Wordsworth's composition, poem, God's face. In his Ode to Immortality, Wordsworth has given certain things. And Savitri was a professor of poetry. He remembers all English poetry and he will use that English poetry wherever he wants, in whatever way he likes. So that God's face of our birth is a direct echo of what we have in Wordsworth. I will read that passage from Wordsworth. We look back to some God face of our birth. Wordsworth. Our birth is but sleep and forgetting. A sleep and forgetting. But trailing clouds of glory we do come from God. Trailing clouds of glory we do come from God. We have come from God, you see. Who is our home? God is our home. Who is our home? The soul that rises the soul that rises with our lives a star hath elsewhere its setting. Our soul has its setting is elsewhere here and comes from afar. Our soul comes from afar. You see, he is telling you very beautifully, Wordsworth, you see. He managed to get that kind of an inspiration straight away, you see. Our birth is but sleep and a forgetting. But trailing clouds of glory do we come from God. We come from God, trailing clouds moving. Who is our home? God, who is our home? The soul that rises with us, our life star. The soul is our life star. Our life star hath had elsewhere its setting. This star had elsewhere its setting. It has come from the transcendent, from Jivatman. And comes from afar. It comes from afar. This is what he says here. We look back to some God face of our birth, glory, thrilling, cloud, all the references here directly you see. We look back to some God face of our birth. Other than this imperfect creature here, yes, you can see the difference. What we have here in this passage is basically the same idea what Wordsworth has. It is definitely an echo of Wordsworth. But this is an epic style. What we have got here in the greatness, in the majesty, in the nobleness of an epic writing, this passage, whereas Wordsworth is a narrative. There is a certain lyrical element in it. But here there is got a epic majesty in this passage. We look back to some God face of our birth. So that majesty, that magnanimity, that greatness, that strength which is there in this line, you don't find anywhere in Wordsworth. You see, that's what I'm saying. We look back to some God face of our birth, other than this imperfect creature here, and hope indeed or a diviner world to recover, yet from heaven's patient guard, what by our mind's forgetfulness we miss. Our being's natural felicity, what does it say? Our position, our heart's delight, we have exchanged for grief. The body's thrill we have bartered for pain. The bliss for which our mortal nature yearns, as yearns an obscure moth to blazing light. In a way, this is Wordsworth paraphrased in an epic style, the idea, but so vivid. Our life is a march to a victory, never won.
Why never work?
Huh?
Why it is never work?
Why? Because we are trapped in this world, in the inconscience and ignorance. In ignorance, we are trapped in ignorance. Yeah, we are trapped here. Our life is a march to a victory, never won. We cannot win the victory as long as you are under the sway of ignorance. You are a product at the moment of inconscience. You are an evolving creature. Unless you come out of it, you cannot really win the victory. You have to come out of ignorance, then only you can win the victory. The victory is there. See, there is no point in gaining a victory in ignorance because ignorance will swallow it. And then what is the victory then? If the ignorance is powerful all the while, then your victory is of no avail. The victory should be able to change ignorance. Then that is the real victory. Our life is a march to a victory. In other words, what he is saying here is, it is a transition phase. It is a process of evolution in which we are at present. You see, it does not mean that our life is a march to a victory, never won. It looks very sad, but at the same time, there is hope. There is promise. There are prospects, and we can win them. Our life is a march. Our life is bound to be a victory. That is assurance in this line. Our life is bound to be a victory. It is bound to win what it is here for. That is a promise. And it is today it is not there. It does not mean that it cannot be. This way of being, longing for delight, this way. So it is a way today, because it's a passing thing, of longing for delight. Its wish is there, its desire is for the bliss. This eager turmoil of unsatisfied strength, the strength which want to establish the spirit's possibilities here, they are not able to do that. Therefore, they have remained unsatisfied. This eager turmoil of unsatisfied strength, this long, far file of our tiring hope. So, longing, eagerness, hope, lift worshipping eyes to the blue void called heaven. So, we look at the heaven, at the blue, at the heaven, at the sky, with worshipping eye, void, because it's a blind to us, therefore it's a blue void up there. We don't know what is there, you see. Lift worshipping eyes to the blue void, lift worshipping eye. The first foot is spondy, second foot is an enemy. To the blue, to the spirit, blue void. spondy called heaven, blue void called heaven. Looking for the golden hand that never came. Yeah, we want some help, helping hand. The great power has to come and take us forward. Looking for the golden hand that never came. That does not mean that it did not come. It has not come so far. Does not mean that it did not come. It has to come. The golden hand is there and it has to come here. Looking for the golden hand that never came. What will that golden hand do? That golden hand will take you to its realm. Open out its realm to you. That golden hand will lead you into that realm of beauty, joy, happiness, consciousness, all those things. Looking for the golden hand that never came. The advent for which all creation waits. That is the great hope. That is the great possibility. These are the great prospects for us. The advent for which all creation. What a great promise, what a great consolation, what a great solace. Yes, it has been a failure, all these things are there, but then these possibilities are also there. The advent for which all creation waits. The creation is not waiting here in frustration. Creation is not waiting here in frustration. Yes, there are difficulties, there are obstacles, there are problems, there are issues here at the moment, but that does not mean that that advent will not come. It has to come. It has to establish itself. It has to take it. That golden hand has to lead you forward. The beautiful visage of eternity that shall appear upon the rose of time. What a felicitous line. Yes, see, that is the power of Savitri. Savitri will, at one stage, give a very ghastly, gloomy, dark picture, but at the same time, it will bring consolation, happiness, soothing effect, you see. It removes all the things. Lift worshipping eyes to the blue void called heaven. This is sort of an ironical, this is a little satirical line. We call blue heaven, you see, but worshipping, looking for the golden hand that never came, the advent for which all creation waits. I don't know whether we are aware that we are waiting for that advent. I don't think we have even that awareness today, you see. We carry on our day, but that urge, that awareness, that awakening is still not there in us. That we are really waiting for that hour to come. We are not having that. Looking for the golden hand that never came, the advent for which all creation waits. Are we really waiting for that advent? Hardly we have awareness of that thing. But then the yogi says, look, you may not be aware of it, but I am aware that you are bound to have this. Yogi is assuring you that thing. You are not aware of it. The advent for which all creation waits, the beautiful visage of eternity that shall appear upon the rose of time. What a great consolation, you see. What a soothing thing.